The Rostselmash K-12200 is today's hidden gem. It is a cultivator, and it is, in my opinion, the best bang for your buck that you're going to get within that price range. It is a little bit more expensive than other cultivators that you could probably get early game. However, for the sheer width that you are able to get and the maneuverability of the cultivator, in my mind, it is worth spending that extra money early game, because this cultivator is going to see you all the way through to late game and bigger fields. The information on the side shows you that the cultivator weighs 9.2 tons. It has a very, very high power or electric rating that you need in order to use it, 276 kilowatts or 375 brake horsepower. This is its biggest drawback, because you are going to need a fairly powerful tractor to be able to pull this. If you buy that tractor new, the cheapest one is the John Deere 7HRS, and it is going to cost you about £289,000 new. So be checking the discount page for any gems or any tractors that you can get that are massively high power requirement or power ratio, that's not going to cost you the earth, because 289,000 and 101,000, that's a big ask. However, a tractor of that power rating and this cultivator are such a good couple that it's going to be worth it long time, and you will make that money back. It sits at 12.2 meters wide, which honestly is more than enough for most of the fields on the base game maps. Some of the modded maps, like Calmston, for example, it might be a little bit too small, but not by much. And again, bang for your buck. I'm going to keep saying that. The amount of money that this costs and the width that you get makes it worth it in comparison to some of the larger cultivators that you can reach. It's got a speed of 15 kilometers per hour and the SK800 tires. Now, the other main reason that I like this cultivator over, say, the Lemkin is the hitch. The hitch is a little bit longer, which means that you actually have a little bit more maneuverability, which makes it easier to cultivate fields. It makes it much more viable to sit it on cruise control and then just steer, as opposed to having, with the Lemkin, as I find, having to sort of reverse and turn around and then come in and, you know, go line to line. You can just turn around in the Rostselmash, which is really, really nice, and again saves time. It also looks quite nice. Like, aesthetically, I like the red over the blue. And I also like the effect that it has on the ground. So with the Lemkin, you get a very sort of smooth finish. It sort of almost rolls the ground as it cultivates, whereas this doesn't really do that. It just tears the ground up. So again, visually, it's a little bit more satisfying to see that difference. That is a very subjective thing, though. You might like the smoother finish of, like, the Lemkin. Personally, I'm not a fan. I like seeing that change after I've actually rolled the crops, which you have to do anyway after cultivating. Again, it is going to cost you a little bit, £101,000, but honestly, it's kind of worth it. If we compare that to some of the closest competitors, namely the Lemkin, which is actually cheaper. It's £87,500 for the Lemkin, Koralin 9840. There is a reason for that, though. It does weigh less at 8.3 tons. It has a lower power requirement at 235 kilowatts or 320 brake horse. This is its biggest drawback. It only has a width of 8.4 meters, and that's going to set you back quite a way. That is going to make fields take way more longer than you would expect them to be. That 4-meter width difference is actually huge. Again, it's limited to 15 kilometers per hour when being used, and it uses the AW305 and the T404 tires respectively. Now again, the hitch is a lot smaller. As you can see, the distance between the wheels and the actual hitch being connected to your tractor is a lot shorter. This means that your maneuverability is so much worse as well, which means it's going to be a bit more awkward to actually get it to go nice and neat and smooth, and it's going to slow your runs down quite a lot. And again, the blue is just very garish. It's very, very bright. I'm just not a huge fan. Like, it's a very subjective thing, But honestly, I would rather pay the extra, get the 4 meters width, get the extra maneuverability, have it look nicer in red. It's just a better buy, in my opinion. But again, this is Hidden Gems. I would rather spend 101,000 and get a better piece of equipment that's going to last me for longer, rather than getting something, hating the usage of it, and then upgrading or replacing and selling this at a loss. Let's look at the other end of the scale. On the other hand, you could look at the Vaderstad NZ Extreme 1425. Now, this is a beautiful piece of kit. It is really nice. However, it's an extra 24 grand, and the bonuses or the extras that you get, in my opinion, are not really worth that extra money. It weighs an extra ton. It has a much larger power to rate ratio that you need. So you need 331 kilowatts or 450 brake horsepower. You do gain an extra 2 meters at 14.3. Again, it's 15 kilometers limited to, and the TM700 Orchids and Vineyards are the tires that it uses. Again, it's got a very long hitch and quite a large distance between the connection point and the wheels. So again, you get the same maneuverability as you do with the Rostselmash. However, I can't really justify the price for what you get. You need a much more powerful tractor. It's going to cost you more money, and it's not going to save you all that much time. It looks fancy. It's a very nice piece of kit, but for the job you're doing, to me, it's wasted money. I would rather save that money and put it into a piece of kit that's going to, it's going to do the job just as quickly. You're not going to save that much time with a 2 meter width. It's not the same as gaining like 4 meters on the Lemkin over the Rostselmash. This, you're only gaining 2. So, again, in my opinion, I would not spend that money on this, as nice as it is. So as you can see, this is a very easy piece of equipment to use, as are all cultivators. There's nothing to switch on. You just simply unfold, lower, and let it rip. Now again, my terrible farming skills aside, what you can see is that the width is actually really, really nice, especially with bigger fields. It just means that you're going to be able to take everything and get it done really, really quickly. Now, there are a number of things that you can do here. You can either, which is what I normally do, go around the outside of the field and then come in and go up, down, up, down, up, down, right? Or across, depending on the side of the field. Or you can just simply go up, down, up, down, up, down without doing the edge. On a base map like Hewitt Belleron, there really isn't a reason to go around the edge. The only time that I would ever really suggest that going around the edge would be the most beneficial is on maps like Calmsden, where the fields are not so open and they're not so regimented or square. They tend to have like weird outliers and bits that you can't get through and stuff. Now, turning these cultivators does take a little bit of getting used to, because obviously with them being so far back, it takes a little bit of time for that movement to come into effect. So you've got to know when to turn left and when to turn right in order to straighten up and make it so that you don't miss any bits. However, because again that distance between the hitch and the first wheels is so great, it gives you that much more maneuverability, which makes it much, much easier for you to actually do that and not have to sort of piss about trying to get it to line up. It makes the entire process very enjoyable, very relaxing, and very, very easy overall. As you can also see, when I said about the aesthetics of the way that it changes the ground, it makes it look like you've just cultivated the ground. It doesn't make it look smooth or anything, and I actually really like that. I find it very, very satisfying. So as long as you can get a tractor that can pull it, and you're not spending too much doing that, you will generally probably fall in love with this cultivator. The Rostselmash is a great buy, and it's the reason why it is this week's hidden gem. It will save you time, it will save you effort, it will save you stress. It's enjoyable to use, and it looks really good too. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I hope to see you all next time. Ciao.